All right, folks. This is a setup video that I'm doing for a Fluance RT85 turntable. This turntable actually comes with two types of cartridges. There's the RT85, which is this one, and I think it's the RT85N, which comes with a Nagaoka cartridge. They're the same turntable. There just depends on what kind of cartridge you buy it from Fluance or however you pronounce their name. So this one here is the RT85. It has the Ortofon blue cartridge that comes with it. For me personally, I don't grade a turntable by what cartridge it comes with, because a cartridge is like a set of tires. It's something that you replace after a certain amount of hours, and you can basically put almost any kind of half-inch standard shell or cartridge into one of these turntables. So for me, it's all about the turntable. You can put any cartridge you want on it. It's just they happen to bundle with their sales program. I guess they bundle specific carts to their various models and use model numbers to delineate what cartridge it basically comes with. So that being said, the blue cartridge here is a very well-known cartridge by Ortofon. It's sort of a higher level than the 2M red. This is the 2M blue. The Nagaoka, I think it's the MP110. I can't remember the model number. Anyway, different flavor of cartridge, so it depends on personal preference. Oftentimes you can't go into a store and listen to both cartridges and make a decision. It's kind of a gamble. This is a very good cartridge, as is I've got a 2M red over on another turntable over there. It's the cheaper variant. The only difference is this is a nude elliptical, and the 2M red is an elliptical bonded stylus. And what that means is when it's a bonded, you don't have, they're basically the tips are the same shape with the 2M blue and the 2M red, but this is diamond all the way to the cantilever. And on the bonded one, they have a diamond tip, but then they'll have I think it's a boron or some weird alloy that has a little bit of a connection point to the diamond tip to the cantilever on the cartridge. So it's a little cheaper and easier to manufacture a bonded cartridge than it is a nude elliptical, because it takes a larger diamond. That's what makes it more expensive. The actual shape of the diamond tip that rides inside the groove is exactly the same on the two cartridges. So there's not a lot of difference between the two. Anyway, that's what we got here. And what I'm going to do is just go through a quick setup protocol and show you how to set up an arm on the RT85 Fluance. And this actually goes with most other arms. Now, when you get the cartridge from the factory or from the manufacturer, what they do is they take all the guesswork out of it, and they actually adjust the overhang distance, which is defined as the pivot point to the spindle tip. And if you were to slew the arm over, the overhang distance is how much does that stylus tip overhang from the spindle through from the diamond tip to the spindle point to the pivot point in a straight line, basically. And what you do is you inscribe, and it depends on what algorithm they use for their protractor, whether they're using a Stevenson or a Bearwald, or what type of architecture they use as far as alignment protocol that they use. So again, all the guesswork's taken out, so you get the head shell with the cartridge installed, and also a cartridge and a stylus guard, which is very important. You want to keep that on until the very last minute, just prior to doing your setup, and that way you can't accidentally damage the stylus when you're doing things. Another thing you could do is you could actually take the stylus right out, because it is removable and replaceable. These are moving magnet cartridges, not moving coil. Moving coil is way more expensive. And you have to get into the $600–700 and beyond range before it really, really makes a difference between whether you're the quality-wise being much superior than a high-quality moving magnet. So just for that point. And oftentimes in a moving coil, you're getting into that range where it could be actually more valuable and more expensive than your actual cartridge. So when you get the cartridge, I'm assuming that you've opened up the box, you've put everything together, depending on which RT85 or which turntable you have, the one with the acrylic platter, or whether I think it's an MDF platter, and then you've installed the platter and the belt, the rubber belt, or the rubber band, as I call it, on the turntable. And then what you'll do is you'll get, in a separate box, you'll get the head shell assembly and you'll get the counterweight. And so we're going to sort of bring the video in closer so you can see how I'm going to set this thing up for use, and then after it's been unpacked. So 1 second. All right, hopefully you can see good enough. You can see the arm assembly. You can see the bearing assembly here, where the pivot point is to the arm itself, and you can see the clamp and the arm rest basically here. So in transit, that will be engaged. So you'll have to undo the arm clamp in order to get the arm to move and everything. And that just prevents it from riding around and damaging the very sensitive and very delicate bearings in this assembly right here. Here you have the Q arm mechanism, and that allows you to lift the arm so that you don't accidentally drop the stylus onto the turntable while it's spinning, and that's used with this Q lever right here. Right there, lifts it up and drops it down. It is a bit of a fast action on these, and there is a way of slowing it down a little bit. You put a little bit of grease, you unscrew the screw there, but you have to actually set it. There's actually a protocol or a procedure online on the Fluance site that shows you how to do that. So I've added the grease. To me it's overly fast, but I don't use that a lot. I actually just finger bomb it. But all you have to do is just slowly lower it, and then you won't have your head shell crashing down on the LP when you're playing it. So with it comes a little alignment bubble here, and then that's just to allow you to properly balance the table. What I like about this turntable is it's not 4 legs on it. You actually have 3 legs. You have 2 forward legs and 1 leg in the middle. As everybody knows, a tripod is actually easier to balance than it is with 4 legs, because if you got 1 leg that's shorter than the other, then it can rock back and forth, and it's awful hard to get everything just perfectly aligned with 4 feet than it is with a tripod. A tripod will always be rock steady. So these are adjustable, so you can actually turn the legs and get it so that the bubble is bang in the middle. So that depends on where you're placing it. Sometimes, the shelf that you put it on, like the shelf over here, is not exactly straight, and nor are all the floors that these things rest on. So that way you can get it perfectly horizontal, and then that will give you your best performance and best specs out of your turntable. Okay, so really all you're going to do is, there's 2 things to add. So once you've balanced it out and everything and got everything nice and square, all you have to do really is put on the head shell. And again, we're going to keep the stylus guard on, or you can take the stylus off completely and muck around with it. But you're going to need the stylus on actually to do the balancing, and we'll go through that. So it's a typical SME standard bayonet mount. So you basically pop the stylus or the head shell in, and there's a little slot here with a pin, and you're going to line that up, and then you're going to turn this knurled knob here until it's snug. Don't over tighten it, because then you can actually strip the mechanism here. So just snug, and if it's not snug, if you let it, it's too loose, then the connection points between the 4 contacts in the head shell don't mate well with the Tonearm leads, and then you can get some hums. So what you want to do is have a firm but not overly tight and overly loose contact, and it just finger tight, and don't reef on it, otherwise you could strip the mechanism, and then you could actually bung up the whole arm. So be very careful when you're putting on the head shell. The other part is it's a 2-piece arrangement, and this is your counterbalance. That's your counterweight. And as you see, there's a mass on the back. That's the actual weight. And then there's a little plastic wheel here that spins freely, and it's graded from 0 all the way up to 2.5. So actually to 3. So 0 and once around makes it 3 grams. So each of those 0.51, 1.52, 2.5, and then 0 back again is a half a gram each increment, and then you've also got increments in between. So that's actually how you're going to apply your proper mass for the stylus. So what it does, what you do is it just screws on to the back here, and you'll notice there's a white line here, and that's going to end up being your indicator of what your mass setting is. So you're just going to make sure, push it on until it starts to bite, and then once you screw it, it'll start screwing in. And there we go. You actually have to go in two sort of clicks in order to get it to spin. So now, notice now, if I spin the back mass here, the weight itself, it's going to move forward and backwards. So I'm moving it forward here if I'm going counterclockwise this way, and counterclockwise that way moves it out. So when you're balancing your arm, do not balance the arm with the stylus guard on. There's a little tab on the bottom here. Just be very careful removing it that you don't snag the diamond tip, because you could rip that right off. It's very delicate. And you're just going to pop that off and just plunk it down here on the side. It's always good to have that handy, because if you're moving it around and everything, you want to pop that on just so that you don't snag a sweater on it. A sweater will just rip that stylus tip off. Or if you're dusting, using a dust rag or whatever, always put your stylus tip guard on. Otherwise, it's really easy to destroy a $250 cartridge. Okay, so what we want to do now is find out where we want to get it level balanced. So now that we've put the weight on, we have no idea how, so that seems heavy to me. So if I turn this out, you'll see now that it's light. So this head shell is now riding up into the sky. So think of this as a teeter-totter, a fulcrum, or a balance. And what you want to do is you want to dial this thing in until, and also before you do all of this, you have to set your anti-skating to 0. So there's a little wheel here off on the side, and that's showing you what your anti-skating force is. And what an anti-skating force is when the arm is perfectly balanced to the weight that the stylus pressure or stylus force that's applied to the record. The natural centrifugal force will try to drive that needle in towards the center of the spindle. And what the anti-skating does is, and then obviously if it's driving it that way, if it's riding in the groove, it's going to try to go to one side of the groove. And then you're going to get distortion on one side and low levels on the other side. And likewise, if you don't have enough anti-skating, or if you have too much anti-skating, it'll try to drive out the other way. So what you want to do is have the anti-skating set for the exact weight that you have, or mass that you have applied to the stylus. So if you set this thing to 2 grams, then your anti-skate should be set at 2 grams. And that way it'll counteract the centrifugal force of the stylus being driven towards the center of the platter or away from it, depending on whether you have too much or too little anti-skate dialed on. So back to the, when you're doing this, you want to set it to 0 so it's not going to make the arm fly in either direction. So if you can see here, it's a little bit heavy, so I'm going to dial it. And then also you want to have your Q lever down, because if it's up, then it's not going to depress. So you want to make sure your Q lever here is totally down. And what you're going to do is you're going to dial the weight on until it's just balanced, just like that. So it's not resting on anything. So if I bump it up, it's going to naturally want to sink back down to the balance point. If I bump it down, it's going to, I hit the bottom part, but there, you'll see it come back up. So now we've got it perfectly balanced. So that will not necessarily land on 0 with this little scale that you see on the side. So what I do is I bring it back here, just lock it down so you don't fly around. But you can actually move this inner dial with the numbers on it without moving the weight. And you're going to just move it to 0, and it's not moving it forward or aft. It's actually still maintaining its balance, as you can see. So I'm going to move that to 0, and then I'm going to move it back here, lock it down, and I'm going to turn it clockwise if you're facing from behind to the forward side of the turntable. I'm going to turn it clockwise till it reads. Now the stylus, recommended stylus force is between 1.6 and 2 grams, I believe it is. So what I'm going to do is put it about 1.8 grams. So you're going to go 1.5 plus 3 little gradients. That'll give you 1.8 grams. So 1.5, 6, 7, 8, and you can see those numbers on the indicator right there. And so once you've applied that force, you'll see that it actually will now totally sink the tone arm so that the stylus will rest on the record. Before, if it's balanced, it's never actually going to settle on the record. So this is going to give me 1.8 grams of force, tracking force, on the record when it's playing the record. So now, to counterbalance that anti-skating force, I'm going to dial in the anti-skate to the same stylus pressure that I've applied to the stylus, and I'm going to dial this to 1.8. And it's very rough scale on the anti-skate, but you just want to be in the ballpark, because anti-skate actually changes with the modulation of the grooves. So whether it's high bass or lots of treble, that will actually change the anti-skate. So that's sort of an average force for an average record, basically. And it's something you can never totally dial in. And once you've done that, once you play the record, it's going to play just fine. So, and then you can turn your thing here to 33, and then once you move the stylus over, you can see that the record spins up. You put your record on it, and then you can either hand bomb it down, or you can use your cueing mechanism. I'm not going to actually do it here because I don't have a record on, but you can actually raise and lower with your cueing mechanism lever here. So that is how, in a nutshell, how you balance a tone arm. And if you got those sort of bullet points, you're golden. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment or contact me directly for Chris. Please leave a comment in the comment section. I'll try to get back to everybody. There's also an excellent manual that comes in the box with it. I got the box right here. It actually explains how to do all of that, but you know, it's more in a step-by-step manner. So it's a good idea to go over the manual, and you know, I may have left something out here, who knows. But that's just basically the general process of balancing a tone arm. So thank you for watching, and what we'll do is we'll jump into how you pack one of these things up for transit, because this one's going to Vancouver. Okay. Thanks for watching. All right, we're back. And hopefully you can see enough of the turntable. I can scooch it over a little bit more. The only thing that's missing is the top of the lid, but that's fine. And so what I've done is I've taken the RCA jacks. These are 90 pico ohm, or picofarads, sorry. 90 picofarads, pico ohm. Anyway, capacitance. So very low capacitance wires, which is what you need for cartridge or for turntables. A lot of people don't realize it, and they just use any old RCA jacks. Not a good idea. You need very, very low capacitance RCA jacks in order to get the most out of your turntable and cartridge. In fact, if you have high capacitance cables, you're going to lose high frequencies. So very important that you use the original ones, or if you lose them, you need to find low capacitance RCA jacks. Otherwise, your sound quality is going to be degraded. And it's not just a matter of buying any beautiful or thick or any kind of RCA jacks, because you can't just use any old stereo head jack or RCA jacks to plug in a turntable. So, and that's, you know, contrary to common belief. Anyway, so we've got the box here. The other thing is, what we're going to do is we're going to take the dust cover off. The hinges actually pop out, they just slide on. We're going to take the platter off. You never, ever, 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 ever ship a turntable with the platter on it. I've seen so many comments online and so many destroyed turntables because people just ship it with the platter. What happens is you pop it upside down, this thing slides off, and it just trashes the Tonearm. So they usually give a separate box for the platter. Most turntable companies, when they're shipping these things, they'll have a separate box that goes on the bottom underneath the turntable, so it doesn't go flying around and do damage to your turntable when you're shipping it. Very important. Okay, so there's a number of boxes here. We're just reverse engineering it. I never actually unpacked a new one of these. So this is the insert for the dust cover, and then you've got all these bags, and you got these Skookum white gloves. I don't even know if they'll fit me. Oh yeah, they will. And that is so you don't get fingerprints all over everything. But cautionary tale. These are really nice for keeping the greasy fingers off the nice piano finish of the turntable, but they're also very slippery. So you have to be very, very careful that you don't pick something up and then have it slip out of your hands, because these are really, really smooth and very slippery. So just be cautious about that. So here's your manuals. There's even a brochure of all of Fluance lineup of speakers and products. But this is your important user manual, and this is actually consistent with the RT85, 84, 83, 82. Pretty much the same turntables, they just have different features. For instance, the 85 has the acrylic platter. I believe the 84, 83, and 82 have a MDF or another wood, or I'm not sure what it's made out of platter. I haven't done a lot of research on Fluance, quite honestly. Canadian made though, which is great. Hooyah, Canada. And it goes through all of the setup procedures and how to unpack and pack and all of that sort of stuff. So first time install, how to do the head shell, going through all the pointers that I showed you, and very informative. I highly recommend that you read this before undertaking an install of one of these turntables, because they are delicate instruments. And we've got all kinds of boxes and bags that this thing came with. So great that the fellow who originally bought this kept everything, so we can hopefully put everything back together the way it was. And here is that platter box I was talking about. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it on and tape it back together so it doesn't slide around and cause damage. So that's one of the first things that's going to come off. They've also got some desiccant in here, and that's useful for if it's going for a long trip, keeping the moisture down inside so you don't get any warping of any of the components, especially MDF or wood-based components. They got some various twist ties. One of the first things I'm going to use a twist tie for is I'm going to take this, even though we've got this lock, it's a very skimpy lock, and I wouldn't trust that to hold the Tonearm from flying around and flopping around. So what we're going to use is a bread tie around that. You don't want to cinch it down too terribly tight, but you don't want it too loose so that it allows the Tonearm to flop around, because that can also damage the delicate bearings that are in the pivot point assembly here. So just do a couple of twists on that, and that way, even if this thing disengages, it's not going to go flying around. So we're going to put on the dust cover that we were talking about for the stylus cover. You hear a click, then you know it's in. And then we're going to take that off. Just unscrew it and then pull it out. And we're going to put it over here. I've got a tabletop over here that I'm going to use. It's off camera, along with the bubble. And I'll put the manual over there, so we've got all the accessories together. There's also the RCA jack. It's a 3-foot RCA jack, low capacitance. What I may do before I actually box up or tape up the box and everything is just get some zip straps here and tie those together so it doesn't uncoil. And then you're very important that you have a ground cable on this. So this ground cable goes from the grounding pin on the back of the turntable to the grounding strap on the back of the preamp, the phono preamp. Whether you're using a standalone phono preamp or whether you're using a built-in one like I have with, it's off camera, but my big receiver that you would have seen earlier on one of my videos. And lots of bubble wrap here and stuff to put things in. Okay, so, and then the other last accessory is the all-important belt. And this is something that you should handle with the white gloves, because what you don't want to do with a belt is get your greasy fingers on it, because if you get the oils on your skin onto it, it acts as an oil or a grease, makes it slippery, and it doesn't actually grab onto the platter edge, and it can affect the speed, the rotational speed of your turntable. So always handle that. And if you do handle it with your gloves, you can clean it with isopropyl alcohol or just soap and water just to get the oil and greases off of it. So you want to keep that nice and dry. Well, not too dry, because if they dry out, then they start to break. But just keep it clean, I guess is a better term. Okay, so inside the box, we have a styrofoam insert. And then the turntable, so that makes up the space so it doesn't slide back and forth, so that the the platter doesn't slide back and forth. That's the heavy part of the acrylic here, so it doesn't cause damage by slipping around. And then you've got the styrofoam inserts here, which the plinth rides in, and then it provides a space here for the arm so it doesn't get damaged. And then the Tonearm and then the dust cover actually rides over top of this so it doesn't shift around and cause bang into the arm and damage the arm. So they really engineered this box very well for travel and shipping. So there we go. You get all these little, gives us a little bag here. I'm sure that's for probably the counterweight, and some of these slots over here is where these things go. I'm not sure exactly where everything goes, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so first thing that comes off is the dust cover. Careful you don't want to crack this, so you can lift it out, and then these two hinges can pop right off of here. And those are your hinges, and then there's your dust cover. We're going to cover the dust cover with, I think that's probably for the turntable. Yeah, I think that's the bag for the actual turntable. It's a lot bigger than the dust cover, I think. Let's see. Yeah, usually the dust cover is just in a big bag like this. There we go. That's how we're going to do it. Okay. And so I'm going to put these over here with all my other accessories, and those will get tucked in here after the fact. Okay, and then we're going to take the platter off. There we go. And it's a good idea to get a little light machine oil. I'll use Singer sewing machine oil to, you know, just lubricate that. You don't put a gob on it, just one drop is enough in between the sintered bearing there and the post, and you should be good. Okay, so what we're going to do, I've got this cloth here. It's just with dish soap, just a light dish soap, just to keep the dust down. And we're going to pop that into the box. They probably had a bag for it. I think this might be a bag for it. Clean that off, and you can see a little bit of dust on here because it hasn't been taken off, I think, since it's probably been installed. So we just want to get nice and clean. It's non-abrasive, so you're not going to put any scuffs on it. You just want to have, oh, it just pops when it cleans up. Okay, so this goes in here like that. And we're going to put that into the box so it sits at the bottom. Remember, we don't want this thing sliding around and doing damage to your turntable, especially your plinth and your Tonearm. There we go. I'm going to pause the camera here right now. I need some tape, so I'll be right back and get some tape. You can never have enough packing tape in a household. So I don't need the gloves anymore for this part. I'll use them again coming up. Okay, just trying to find the end of this. There we go. Okay, you need to tape this shut because otherwise these flaps get in the way. Side. And I almost lost the end again here. There, now that's nice and secure. And that is going to sit in there just like that. See that? See what's sitting in there? Just perfectly. Okay, now I don't know. I think this is more for the dust cover, quite honestly. Once again, let's put our skookum little gloves on. Sure. They thought about it quite good about how to put these things together. Yeah, totally lines up with the with the dust cover. That's exactly what that's for. So you can see that, and then it'll sit over top of this here, like that, when the turntable's on. And then that'll give it a lot of protection. And they use this light bag here, so it doesn't put a lot of pressure on the arm here. So what we're going to do, pull this out, slide the box over here, and we're going to put the cover on the turntable itself. Oh, sorry. We're going to take the counterweight off. We don't have too much pressure on the armature here. I'll put it over here with the accessories, which will go in here. All these little recesses are here for the various accessories. You can see that's the head shell accessory. That's probably the counterweight one. And we'll figure out what the other ones are for as well. That doesn't come out, that doesn't come out. That's on 0. Okay. These are actually really nice turntables. Oh, and also got the power cable. So that's the last of the accessories. So you have a little power brick right here, and it has a pull out. So if you tug on it too hard, it'll just pull itself out and not damage anything, which is good. And there, it's a very solid plinth on this thing. So wonderful. Okay, now you want to make sure this is for the Tonearm. That's a recess, so it doesn't put any pressure on the Tonearm. It's a space to allow clearance for the Tonearm and to actually hold it in place. You can see there's a little offset here to hold the S shape of the arm, and then it just fits it in there and keeps it nice and snug. And this fits in like that. And then we'll bring the box back over here for you to see. Okay, and now look at all that styrofoam that's, oh, the box slipped a bit there. There we go. There you go. You can see. Well, let's see. It's sitting on something. Maybe it has to go the other way. This way. Yeah, that's why that offset is there. You can see on the bottom, that's the back leg, and it was sitting on that. So you have to make sure that opening is underneath the leg, and that way it floats right down underneath and supports the turntable. Legs here, yeah, those are in recesses. There, perfect fit. Oh, no it isn't. Okay, my mistake. That has to go this way. There, perfect now. Okay. And we're gonna put this over on our accessory table because we don't want to leave out any accessories. I want to make sure everything that goes with the turntable goes with it. And I suspect that's what that is for. That goes in there. I think. Or maybe there. Yeah, that's where it goes. Or does it? Okay, we'll figure it out. Nope, not there. Not there. I think it goes in here somehow. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Let me pause this so I can figure it out. Oh, my gloves won't let the... adapter.
those windows.
What windows?
3, 5, 11, right.
All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to show you what I've done. I did it off camera just because I was just trying to figure out where everything goes. So on the right hand side here, and what I've done is I've taped over these so they don't flop out. You've got the cartridge with its stylus guard on it. In this recess, you've got one hinge here, and then this is your counterbalance recess. So I've taped it in so that it can't flop out and bang up against the lid. Doesn't matter because this goes in over top of that, and basically, well, it kind of does. The padding there will prevent it as well. So that just goes on top where the dust cover will fit in. So this is all bagged here. And then we've got this accessories right here. And I've got this flap here. I just want to show you what's in it first. So inside here is your RCA jacks, the bubble level, the green grounding cord, and the 2 RCA jacks. What else? It's all, oh, and the power supply is in there. So, and then of course the gloves are going to go there. That's going to go like that. And then we're going to tape that up so it's all complete. And then that is going to go in there like that. Okay, and then basically I'm going to stuff a couple of other things in here. I'm hoping they can fit. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I wanted to put some cleaning fluid. What I'll do is I'll get a smaller bottle of this. It's called Groovinator. And what you can do is take a picture of that. Take a screen capture of that. Add 10 drops per 16 ounce distilled water. For best results, rinse afterwards with dampening lint, fiber. So this is a good cleaning fluid. So you add 10 drops of this to about ½ liter of distilled water. Don't use tap water because there's all kinds of salts and minerals in tap water. It'll leave crap on your records. So you always wash your records with distilled water, which you can get for $3 a jug or whatever at a drugstore. So make sure you use distilled water. And not deionized water, because that actually starts stripping out the plasticizers. So distilled water is what you want to use. So I'll put a little vial of that stuff in. It'll probably be enough to get you going for about 10 years. And I'll put it in a little bottle that'll actually fit in there without having to worry about wrecking, it impinging on the turntable. I got this at a dollar store, so it's $1, so I'm not gonna throw it in because I don't wanna, you know, again, risk damaging the turntable because there's not enough space in here. But these are paint edgers, and I've got a record cleaning system over here. It's called the Squeaky Clean Mark III, and it's tied up to a vacuum cleaner down here. But as you can see, what I use to clean all my records is these edgers, which you can get at Rona or Home Depot, and they're monofilament fiber kind of brushes. That is the best thing I've found for ever cleaning a record. So I have one for soapy water, and then after I do the soap clean, you don't need the turntable platter, and you can air dry it and everything. This just speeds up the process. And then once you've cleaned it with soap and got everything cleaned up with the soapy brush, then I have another brush that I use for rinsing it with distilled water, so it doesn't leave any of the soaps behind on the record. And that every brand new record that you buy, you must clean your records, because they use oils and greases in order to, when they press the record, to release the press off of the vinyl once it's been pressed in. So there's always like a layer of oils and greases and scum basically left on brand new records, and they don't clean those off. So you should always clean brand new records before you play them. So good food for thought. So what I'll do is I'll put the manuals in the side here on the back end. And I showed you that this was a hinge. Oh, and then there's a 45 adapter on this side here. The original 45 watt adapter wasn't there. He never gave it to me, so I printed one off on a 3D printer for you. So just so you can play 45 RPM records. There is actually no 45 RPM rest on this turntable. I've got one out, like my JVC upstairs has a little post where you put it on. This particular one, you just keep it in a drawer somewhere. So there we have it. So I'm going to put some of this Groovinator record cleaning solution to make a cleaning solution. That's your soapy solution. And then you also want to have, like, I use a spray like this. And I fill distilled water, and then I just spray it over, and then I brush it off with that. And then you can put it into a dish drying rack or something, and let them dry, and then you'll have nice clean records. You don't have to deep clean like that every time. I just do it once every 30 or 40 plays or 20 plays, or when it gets slimy and greasy, depending if you've left it out or not. And just use a carbon fiber brush for brushing down and getting rid of dust. This is more of a anti-static solution than it is an actual cleaning solution. This will just get rid of the superficial dust, and the carbon fiber brushes actually neutralize the charge on the vinyl, because most people think that it's micro scratches that causes the ticks and pops. Usually it's actually static discharge. So static is your enemy with records. And for that, you can also get one of these anti-stat zero stat guns that you hit it 4 times, you push the trigger and let it. There's lots of stuff online on how to use those, and it will change your life when you're playing records. You won't get the snap crackle pop that a lot of people get, because they think they got scratched records, when in fact it's probably just static discharge, static buildup on the vinyl, causing little sparks to fly when your needle or your stylus goes through the grooves. So note to self: keep your records clean and keep them and that's what this what's so good about this solution. What this does is it's got the same sort of active ingredient as rinse, hair rinse. After you shampoo your hair, you put the rinse in to make it supple and soft without having any static cling. Well, that's the same kind of thing without all the smelly stuff that causes problems on records. You want they're called quats. Basically, it's a big, long chemical term, but basically it makes your records statically neutral. So we're going to button all this together. So that goes on here like this. And then that goes over top that as a smooth fit, like so. And then the dust cover goes in there, and now it's nice and supported, and you got that void space inside where your tone arm isn't going to get knocked about and beaten. So beautiful packing procedure on these turntables. And there you can see it's the original box and everything. So that's it. I'm just basically gonna put that on so it doesn't have any pressure on it, and we'll button it up and then put the address and send it off in the post office. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Okay, after much cajoling, I put the under number 1 here, I put the Groovinator liquid cleaner in a dispenser, a smaller dispenser. There's enough there for probably 20 years. Right under number 1. It's all just one big space there. And then of course I've put the dust cover in, as you can see. And then the last thing that goes on is this protective cover that goes on top. At first I thought it went inside, but it doesn't fit inside, so it has to go on top, and that protects the top of this from getting dinged. So basically now we can shut it, and we don't have too much. I don't want to stuff this with anything, because then that could put pressure on it. These guys knew what they were doing when they did these packing things. So here's a little check sheet to make sure we have it. I've got the turntable. We've got the dust cover and both hinges in there. We've got a bubble level head shell with the 2M blue, counterweight acrylic platter with belt. That's in the belt is in the accessory box here. Power adapter is in the accessory box. RCA cables, ground 45 adapter. Motor pulley cap is actually on, so I didn't take that off. And the user manual. So there we have it. Everything is in place, and basically we just secure it, and then it's ready for shipment. So we'll get that all taped down, and then we'll address it. We'll get rid of some of this other packing stuff from previous times, and then we'll ship it off. And there you have your, it's probably serial number right there, just to make sure you get the right one. I didn't check the serial number against the box. I have no doubt that it's one and the same. And there you go. Thank you for watching. There's some extra pieces here, and what I'm going to do is, I haven't closed the box off yet, and I think what they are is this goes on the left side of the plinth, that goes on the right side of the plinth, probably to prevent scratching. So I'm going to put those in, take it out, just take it out and redo that. And I think this sort of soft velvety thing is supposed to go inside the dust cover, just to make sure, because it's very soft. Oh, I see, it goes on the top. There's a spindle hole there. So we're going to pull it out just so it doesn't get bounced around and scraped and scratched. So I'm going to put that back in. I'm not going to film it, but it's an easy. You saw how everything came out. It comes out quite easily. So we're going to do that as well. This is the thing they meant by motor pulley cap. So it just sits in there like this, so you don't see the screws on it, and it just pops on there. So in case you were wondering, it says here on their motor pulley cap. And that's basically it. And it actually sits in there for transportation. So we'll show you how the cloth goes on here now. Okay, there you can see the cloth. There's your spindle recess here, and then it's got a slit here for your arm to go through. And then these little cutouts for the hinges. And then this just folds over like that. And I guess that's so that this doesn't abrade on the thing. And then that goes over top of it as well. And I think these go on the sides here just to hold it in. So we're going to do that as well. You can see it's all buttoned together here. And now we've got the baggie over top. Everything's in. And now we'll put the dust cover and all the accessories and everything in. So the accessories go in. Oh, that's the bottle of cleaning fluid. Putting it upright so it doesn't... I got a bag, so it does, even if it spills, it's just going to go in the bag. And then we'll put the dust cover on, and that over top. Have it finally closed in. Thanks for watching.